The previous speaker deludes himself, and he's my friend, if he thinks the message we send today goes only to the president. The message will go to all the world. The message will go to Muammar Gaddafi. The message will go to our NATO allies. The message will go to every nation of the world that America does not keep faith with its allies. America must lead. We must not equivocate. Such a course would encourage the enemies of peace, the bullies of the world. People around the world look to our country's strength in their struggle for democracy and basic human rights. As it happens, I said that in 1999 when Clinton sent troops to stop the genocide in Bosnia, and he did so, and the authorization lost on this floor shamefully, 213 to 213. One of the darkest days I have served in this institution. Let us not repeat that mistake. Let us not repeat that message to our NATO allies, to our European allies, to all the world, that America cannot be counted on. At the same time, Congress was voting to undermine their mission as they flew to Kosovo. In recent months, people across the Middle East have bravely stood to demand that their government respect their fundamental rights. I've stood with the gentleman from Indiana on behalf of human rights around the world. The Libyan people, who have been subject to the dictatorship of Muammar Gaddafi, who has more blood on his hands, of Americans' blood on his hands, than any other person other than Osama bin Laden in the last 3 decades. We're among those who insisted that enough was enough. Gaddafi responded by unleashing widespread violence and threatening countless lies, publicly promising to go door to door and kill those who stood against him. In response to this threat of Gaddafi's against those civilian people, the European Union, the Arab League, the United Nations Security Council, and a unanimous NATO called for action to protect Libyan civilians. The United States is participating in this action both in order to prevent brutal attacks against civilians and in order to stand by our allies. President Obama has made clear from the beginning that our allies needed to take the leading role in Libya. We can't do it all, but that does not mean we can't support those who choose and take the responsibility of leading. NATO has done that, and to this point, the campaign against Gaddafi has been successful. His exports of oil have ceased. He is running short on funds. Cabinet and military officials continue to defect from his regime. China has just hosted the Libyan opposition in China, and the opposition controls eastern Libya and is making progress in the west. I believe that the wrong decision today will significantly compromise that progress. Gaddafi wrote us a letter in the last debate just some weeks ago and thanked the House of Representatives for its debate. Is that the message we want to send to Gaddafi? I think not. It would put civilian lives at risk to withdraw. It would potentially stall the growing movements for democratization, not just in Libya, but across the Middle East, and indeed across the world. And it would severely undermine our NATO alliance, as we all know. If we want our allies to stand by us in our time of need in Afghanistan, we have to stand by them in places like Libya. We're either in an alliance or we're not. I do believe that President Obama could and should have done a better job of consulting with Congress at the outset of hostilities. And I do believe we are involved in hostilities. But I believe that we must, as a faithful ally and defender of freedom, defeat the Rooney resolution and support the Hastings resolution. America ought to do no less, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from California.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1.5 minutes. My friend and colleague, a member of the Committee on Armed Services.